Well, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced free online coaching for students preparing for competitive examination, it struck a chord with millions of middle-class households. Coming in the week and the wake of intense student protest over exam pressures and paper leaks, well, the proposal aims to dismantle the crushing financial burden imposed by private coaching giants. And we will get you more on this as we are being now joined by Keshavan Belagod, founder and director of Swift Solution Private Limited, live from Bengaluru. Well, welcome to the broadcast.
Yeah, good morning. Hello, everybody.
Good morning. Well, Mr. Belagod, with free online coaching now on the table, access becomes the next big hurdle. And beyond just handing out devices or data, what practical steps can policymakers take, say in teacher training, content design, or last mile connectivity to ensure a student in a small town gets the same quality of online resources as one in a metro city?
Yeah, so the announcement is a welcome announcement because they're trying to bridge the gap between the cost and geography. Having said that, the most important point of reaching out to the last mile is just not the internet connectivity. It's also about having accessibility. That means to say that the person who is there in the remotest part should be able to access it seamlessly. So the data becomes the key here. They need to have sufficient data and seamless data. And the second point is that they need to have the right device. So the right device is mobile is one of the mediums which is very highly penetrated here in India. However, digital learning involves so many other aspects also. So I think the hardware is more important. And the third most important point, what I feel is that the entire system has to be on a learning platform. Essentially, the content right now is available plenty on the YouTube. But I think the point is that to access these videos, for example, you need to make it bandwidth friendly, wherein this should be able to download on the mobile. They should be able to also able to connect to peer-to-peer group, teachers online for doubt clarification, some sort of assessment. The whole ecosystem, what we have manually that happens, we need to simulate it online. While the announcement is excellent, we look forward to this sort of ecosystem also being created online to reach the last mile connectivity, especially in the coaching, classes.
Right, Mr. Belagod. You know, we often talk about financial relief, but studying from home for long stretches can also lead to isolation. So what impact do you see on students' mental health and their support systems? And what safeguards should be built into these online coaching platforms from day one?
Yeah, so here the impact on the learner is it can cut both the ways. One, for some it will be helpful if they are with the parents remotely and in the house, but for some the impact is a little different in the sense they may not be able to have a silent place to study or a learning environment that is very conducive to do a learning for such sort of a competitive exam. So I think it is dependent on the children, what is easily accessible for them. At the same time, they are able to also comfortably learn. I think people will have to make the choice here. The impact is that if parents are there around, it's good, or if the family support is good. But sometimes there can also be a pressure that can build up in the student's mind. So it has to be some sort of a stakeholder assessment or a counseling that needs to be done well before they come into these sort of online classes, wherein the platform itself should take care of telling the parents how they need to support the student, and the student also how they need to really schedule and plan their learning online, and also the teachers who come on board to help the students to learn, also to try to do some sort of a counseling sessions and doing some diagnostic assessments and feedback mechanisms so that they help the child psychologically to cope up with the learning cycle. So all in all, it's a participative approach of all the stakeholders in the entire cycle. And I think the more it is advantageous says for people who cannot really, travel for long. But if people have the ability, going to coaching centers will give them slightly a different advantage in terms of peer learning, having teachers there around and stuff like that. So I think we need to see how this evolves once it rolls out. But I think whether it is online or offline, there is a sort of a role that has to be played by these people, whether it is online or offline.
Right, Mr. Belagod, exactly. This is a very welcoming, aspect of what the government has announced on the Independence Day. So, yes, we're going to wait and see how this actually pans out for the students in India. But thank you so much, Mr. Keshavan Belagod, for joining us today and sharing your insights on the same.
Thank you very much. Welcome.